Well, I would be remiss. If I brought you on the channel and I did not ask about graphene. So I know you don't have too much more time. So I think we can come from two different angles. Number one, what is your favorite fact, fun fact to tell people about graphene? We have a bunch of Timcast viewers here, so I know people are going to have a basic idea, but we also have some people who probably don't even know what graphene is. So please.
Wow. I want to stuff like 9 facts into one.
Please.
Well,
hey, I've got the time.
It's a super capacitor. It just depends on what you combine it with. But if you combine it with, well, first of all, it's black powder. It comes out as black powder. It's kind of like sand. It flows like sand. It's pure carbon. And you can put it into sheets. It's becoming a super capacitor, meaning it can store immense amounts of electrical charge. It's super conductive qualities when you twist it on top, like put layers on top of itself at like 1.1 degrees. They call it a magic angle. It's called Twistronics. So check that out if you want to know more about its super conductive ability. And so you could build like touch screen walls, like walls made out of this stuff that's also touch screens that can store that are also your batteries and that are also your wires. You can put it into roads and make them 3 times as strong. And this is just like the beginning of the understanding of this tech in its like most rudimentary form.
And when you say what kind of time frame are we talking? Like the last 20 years, the last 50 years, the last 70 years?
I think they discovered it in like 2001 or 1998 by peeling Scotch tape off of graphite, and they found it, and it was just layered in these hexagonal rings. So it looks like a honeycomb, one atomic layer thick. And they discovered it under a microscope. And like, whoa, look at this benzene structure. Look at the structure of this carbon. This is amazing. And then they started working on it. And for 20 years, they were like, how do we mass produce this? And they just recently, within the last couple of years, figured out through a process called flash joule heating, where they take carbon of any kind, plastic, whatever. Mm-hmm. They put it in a little tube, and then they run a current through it. Get it up to about 7,000, 8,000 degrees Celsius. I think it's like 4,000 degrees Kelvin. And it just and turns it into black powder. And like it'll sublimate like pollutants. So if there's arsenic in it,
that's what
turn it into gas. Sublimate going from solid to gas is what that means.
Right. I remember you talking to Dr. Tor about using this for pollution and for trash. That you could turn trash into this super conductive, super useful material.
Yeah, check out on my YouTube channel at Ian Crossland the most recent interview with James Tour if you really want to go deeper. And then obviously go to James Tour's YouTube channel and look for his graphene videos, because he is like the deep dive.
Yeah, he's also very, very Christian, in case that floats your boat. Shout out to Kelly Green. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Catholic, definitely taught to emulate Jesus. And then so the other aspect I was going to say is that, obviously, as much as you're into graphene, obviously having somebody like Dr. James Tour is very exciting. So what was something new that you learned from him during that interview? Or podcast, where are we
going? Well, actually, I thought that they were using lasers to produce the flash joule heating process, and he corrected me and explained that they're using electricity. They're running current through the carbon, not lasers. Laser-induced graphene is where you'll take like a blob of liquid graphene or a blob of like powder, and then you etch with a laser. You can etch a design on it and create like a circuit. And make little circuits out of graphene by doing that. That's what you do with lasers. The electricity actually just heats
the whole thing. Awesome. Well, beautiful. So we've got one more question here from M169. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Before we let Ian go, again, guys, it's so amazing that we were able to get Ian here. He is a big dog. If you're not familiar with Timcast IRL, it is one of the biggest shows out there, and he is a big reason for that. So M169 said, I'm sensing a theme with the mid-20s. I went there too. I eventually, speaking of, the atheist phase, I eventually circled back to a position of faith versus religion. And I think that's, an important thing that to bring up, because I think there's, people tend to, if it has to do, like, let's say the microphone is closeness to God, then it tends to be like a little bit of a horseshoe, where you a lot of people kind of start very close and then get very far, but then kind of come back around the other way and end up very close. And I would say that the reason for that is because of all of the muddiness that I'm talking about. It's because there's so much goodness in, our microphone God. There's so much goodness here, but there's so many lies. There's so many antiquated ideas. There's so much confusion about what the microphone actually is that it pushes people away. And then as you get far enough away that you've lost the anger of, oh, they said this was happening and I felt shame and then you can kind of start to come back down the other. Well, you know what? The universe is beautiful. Like the cosmic background radiation looks exactly like a synapse, and that's maybe it's a coincidence, but even if it is a coincidence, that's a beautiful, amazing natural coincidence, and I can find spiritual value in that, even if it's just nature. And so it's a little bit of a horseshoe.
Yeah, letting go of the anger of them telling me to believe it the way they wanted me to believe it was a big part of it. Yeah. And just seeing like it's just the way they see it. And even if they're going to try and make me do it, thank God that we don't live in the time of the Spanish Inquisition where they come break your legs if you didn't believe the way they believed. Yeah. We live in this open and free society where we can debate these things. And like regarding seeing it in your 20s, I think part of it has to do with your brain's development. I've heard that it takes at about age 23 is where your brain really starts to become the adult version of what you're going to be. And they say like, don't do drugs until you're in your after 23, if you're going to experiment with alcohol and weed and all that. I was 23 when I started smoking pot and drinking alcohol. And I'm glad because after I did that, it was like school became very hard to focus on like studies in that phase of my life where I was taking other chemicals. So I get that. And also there's this thing called the Saturnal return. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of math about how exactly it correlates, but I think from the age of 26 to 29, you're kind of the cycles that you create in your own brain and life and body in those years kind of determine the way the cycles of the rest of your life are going to be. The Saturnal return. It's pretty fascinating. It might have something to do with Saturn. We live in this magnetic universe, according to the Thunderbolts project. I still wonder if you look at the hexagonal North Pole of Saturn, like it is pure. That's a magnetic formation. You look at the North Pole of Saturn. If you've never seen it, it's literally a hexagon, like of gas.
Hexagons are everywhere. Hexagons are everywhere. That I think now that I think about it, that might be one of the first things that really started getting me into the spirituality without the religion, where I was not just bad religion, but I was starting to get more when I started learning about like sacred geometry and realizing that these shapes are ubiquitous throughout the universe, and it just showed me that there could be something else. And as long as there's something else, then the adherence to one particular thing doesn't make sense. And when we can have the behaviors and values and all of that good stuff without that adherence, then I still stand saying we don't need the dogma. Let's get rid of the dogma. Let's keep the values.
Also, it becomes fun to talk about the dogmas and ideas if you're able to have the morality without them. I enjoy it so much to hear about other people's views on this stuff. And I don't have to be like, no, I like to just flow over me, man. I'm putting it all together. I want to hear why.
Yeah, man. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, shout out to Unwanted Foe asking for a persuasion check to see if he can stay any longer. I know you got to go.
All right, I'm going to roll a will save to see if I can to resist your persuasion check. I rolled a 20, although like I said before, the die has 20s all over it.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So, any last, again, thank you so much for coming on here and spending the time. I think it's very, obviously very valuable to me personally to have these ideas, thought out in front of somebody who thinks the way you do. Obviously, having a big name on my channel don't hurt either. And just the opportunity to say that I really, really do appreciate, your role on Timcast, Timcast as a whole. So many of us have such respect for what you do, the way that you think, and just for inspiring us to be like, okay, maybe even if we're not, straight laced this with a tie, maybe we can have, an effect on politics too. And so just in case nobody ever told you, that is exactly how very, very, very many of us feel.
I appreciate it. And your audience is awesome. I should come back. We should do this again in the future. Maybe in the next few months or something, we'll do a touchback and see how the circle has returned.
Sounds like a plan to me. So one more time for if anybody wasn't here, who are you? Where can they find you? And what do you do?
I am Ian Crossland, musician, actor, and co-host of Timcast IRL on YouTube Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on YouTube, I have just started an interview show. I've done my second episode. Tomorrow, Monday, I'll be interviewing Bill Ottman, the CEO of Minds.com. We're going to talk about free software and who knows what else. I've got some amazing guests lined up. I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy Riss at some point, the alien scientist talking about metamaterials, Jason Page, the singer of the original Pokemon theme song. Also a very special guy in my life, so that'll be fun. I'm actually going to interview the creator of the Flash Joule graphene. The list goes on. The creator of the Flash Joule graphene process. Very, very exciting. So stay in touch with me on Twitter and subscribe to me on YouTube. And that is the best way to keep up to date on what'll be coming.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you again one more time. Very, very, very much appreciated. Appreciate the time and very much look forward to whenever we can do this again. Thank you, sir. You have a good one. Hey, we did it, guys. We did it. Oh, what is good? What is good? Ian Crossland on the channel. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for the blessings, guys. Oh, my God. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.